The great hall stretched higher than any building on Earth. Walls made of crystal caught the light from distant stars and threw it back in colors that had no names in human languages. Hundreds of beings sat in floating chairs arranged in circles that rose up and up until they disappeared into shadows. Some had scales, some had fur, and some looked like they were made of living metal. They all stared down at the small group of humans standing in the center of the floor. Commander Hyunwoo stood straight in his dark blue uniform. He had traveled for 6 months to reach this place. Behind him stood Ambassador Tae-yang, a woman with gray hair and tired eyes who had spent 30 years preparing for this moment. Next to her was Jisoo, the youngest of the group, her fingers dancing across a tablet that glowed with data about everything they were seeing. Above them, sitting on the highest seat, was the one called Council Prime Vraxian. He looked like a massive lizard standing upright with red scales that seemed to burn in the light. When he spoke, his voice boomed through the hall without any speakers or machines. "So these are the humans," Vraxian said. His mouth split into something that might have been a smile. The creatures from the little blue planet at the edge of nowhere. Hyunwoo had been warned about this. The council thought they were better than everyone else. They had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. They had technology that seemed like magic. They had ships that could cross between stars in days. But Hyunwoo kept his face calm and his voice steady. "We come in peace," he said. "Earth wishes to join the community of worlds. We have much to offer and much to learn." A sound like laughter came from all around them. Thousands of aliens found this funny. One of them, a creature that looked like a floating jellyfish, spoke up. "Offer? What could you possibly offer us? We have reviewed your technology. You still burn chemical fuel to escape your own gravity. You split atoms for power like children playing with fire. Your fastest ships would take thousands of years to reach even your nearest stars." Jisoo's hand tightened on her tablet, but she said nothing. Tae-yang put a gentle hand on her shoulder. Vraxian leaned forward. "Your world has been watched for some time now. Your species fights itself constantly. You have wars over invisible lines on the ground. You kill each other over resources you have in plenty. You damage your own planet for short-term gain. Why would we allow such a violent, short-sighted species into our civilized community?" "We are imperfect," Hyunwoo admitted. "But we are learning. We are growing. Every species must start somewhere. Did your people not have conflicts in your past?" "That was millions of years ago," Vraxian snapped. "We evolved beyond such primitive behavior. But you? You are not ready. The Council has decided. You will submit to our authority. We will guide your development. We will teach you to be civilized. In perhaps 10,000 years, if you prove worthy, you may earn the right to govern yourselves again." The hall went quiet. Even the other aliens seemed surprised by this. Hyunwoo felt his heart beating faster, but his voice stayed calm. "And if we refuse?" "Refuse?" Vraxian seemed genuinely confused by the question. "You cannot refuse. You are a primitive species. You have no say in this matter. If you do not accept our generous offer, we will be forced to correct your behavior. We have done this before with other young species. It is unpleasant but necessary." Tae-yang stepped forward. "You are threatening us." "We are offering guidance," another council member said. This one looked almost human, but with purple skin and 3 eyes. "You should be grateful. Many species would celebrate such an opportunity." "We did not ask for guidance," Hyunwoo said. "We asked for friendship, for trade, for mutual respect. You have offered us slavery." The word echoed through the hall. Several aliens shifted in their seats. Vraxian's scales seemed to darken. "How dare you use such language here? We are your superiors. We have technology you cannot imagine. We have weapons that could turn your entire planet to dust. You will learn respect, human, or you will learn regret." Jisoo whispered something to Tae-yang, who nodded and passed the message to Hyunwoo. He listened and then smiled just a little. "You have reviewed our technology," he said. "Tell me, did you review our history as well?" "We saw enough," Vraxian said dismissively. Centuries of meaningless conflict, nothing worth studying. Then you missed something important, Hyunwoo said. You saw violence, yes. But did you see how we respond to threats? Did you see what happens when someone tries to conquer us? Did you notice that throughout our entire history, despite our divisions, despite our conflicts, we have never accepted subjugation? Every empire that tried to rule us eventually fell. Every tyrant who thought us weak eventually learned otherwise. Primitive defiance, the purple alien said. How touching. Council Prime, Hyunwoo said, looking directly at Vraxian. I came here hoping we could be friends. But if you choose to be enemies, I want you to know something. Humanity does not respond well to threats. We do not bow to bullies, and we do not surrender. Vraxian stood up from his throne. He was enormous, 3 times the height of Hyunwoo. The council votes now, all in favor of bringing the human world under our protection and guidance. Lights appeared above every seat in the hall. Every single one glowed red. The vote was unanimous. It is decided, Vraxian declared. A fleet will be dispatched to Earth. You will return home and inform your leaders to prepare for our arrival. Resistance will be met with appropriate force. This meeting is concluded. Hyunwoo looked up at all those red lights. Then he looked at Vraxian. You have made a terrible mistake. The only mistake, Vraxian said, is that we did not find you sooner. You could have been civilized by now. Guards, escort the humans back to their ship. As they walked out of the hall, surrounded by armed aliens, Taeyang leaned close to Hyunwoo. What do we do now? We go home, he said quietly, and we prepare. Jisoo was still staring at her tablet, her face pale. Commander, I accessed their database while they were talking. I found something. What? Records of every species they have ever invaded. Hundreds of them over thousands of years. Species more advanced than us. Species with better weapons than us. Every single one of them fell within weeks. They have never lost a war. Never even come close. Hyunwoo stopped walking. The guards pushed him forward, but he looked back at the hall one last time. There is a first time for everything, he said. 3 months later, sensors around Earth detected the largest fleet ever assembled by the Council. 500 warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. They moved toward Earth in perfect formation, unstoppable and inevitable. Or so they thought. Captain Minseo watched the screens in the command center buried 3 kilometers under the Pacific Ocean. Each screen showed a different view of the alien fleet. 500 ships, each one larger than any aircraft carrier ever built by humans. They moved through space like a school of metallic fish, beautiful and deadly. How long until they reach Earth orbit? She asked. Young Mai, her tactical officer, checked her console. 18 hours at their current speed. They are not hurrying. They think they have already won. Minseo smiled without humor. She was 40 years old and had spent half her life preparing for this day. Nobody had wanted to believe it would happen. Even after Hyunwoo returned with his warning, many world leaders had argued for surrender. But enough people remembered history. Enough people understood what submission would mean. Across the room, Dr. Junho stood next to a massive holographic display. He was older than Minseo, his hair white, his hands shaking slightly from too much coffee and not enough sleep. But his mind was sharp. He had designed most of what was about to happen. Dr. Minseo called out, Are we ready? Junho looked up from his calculations. As ready as we will ever be. All defensive platforms are online. All satellites are in position. Ground forces are evacuated to safe zones. Civilian populations are in shelters. He paused. But Captain, we have never tested this against real alien technology. We are making assumptions based on limited data. I know, Minseo said. But we work with what we have. On the main screen, Admiral Sunwoo appeared. He was commanding the entire defense from a bunker in Seoul. His face looked carved from stone, showing no emotion. All forces, this is Sunwoo. The enemy fleet is broadcasting their demands. They want our unconditional surrender within 12 hours. They promise to be merciful if we comply immediately. He paused. We will not comply. Today humanity shows the galaxy who we are. Today we fight. Not for glory. Not for conquest. But for the right to remain free. All units prepare for combat. May whatever gods you believe in watch over us. The screen went dark. Mincio took a deep breath and turned to her crew. You all know your jobs. You have all trained for this. Remember, they think we are primitives. They think we will be easy. Let us teach them otherwise. 6 hours later, the alien fleet was close enough to see Earth with their own sensors. Vraxian sat on the command throne of his flagship, the massive dreadnought called the Hammer of Justice. Around him, his officers monitored hundreds of displays showing data from across the fleet. Report, he commanded. The humans have not responded to our demands, an officer said. But we are detecting unusual activity. Many of their satellites have changed position. Their satellites? Vraxian laughed. What do they think they can do with satellites? Our shields can withstand the explosion of a star. Their primitive weapons cannot even scratch our hull. Should we disable their satellites, Council Prime? No, let them watch. Let them see their own helplessness. It will make them more obedient when we land. Another officer spoke up. Council Prime, we are also detecting power signatures from their moon. They have a base there? Yes, small facility. Probably scientific. Should we destroy it? Vraxian considered. Yes, a demonstration will be useful. Show the humans what happens to those who defy us. Target the moon base. Minimum power. A beam of blue light shot from the flagship. It crossed the distance to the moon in seconds and struck the base. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire structure exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Moonbase destroyed, the officer reported. No survivors detected. Good, Vraxian said. Now the humans know we are serious. Prepared, every alarm on the ship went off at once. What is happening? Vraxian roared. Council Prime, we are being targeted. Multiple locks from hundreds of sources. What sources? Their satellites? Not just satellites. We are detecting weapons platforms throughout their solar system. They were disguised as asteroids. They are all powering up at once. Vraxian stared at the display. Red dots appeared everywhere. Dozens, hundreds. They had been there the whole time, hidden, waiting. Impossible, he whispered. Back in the Earth Command Center, Mincio watched the alien fleet's perfect formation begin to waver as they detected the trap. All platforms, this is command, she said calmly. You are authorized to fire at will. Target their shield generators first. Let us see how strong they really are. Youngmi's fingers flew across her console. Firing solution locked. All platforms reporting ready. Captain, the moon base was a decoy, correct? Correct. Nobody was there. Just sensor equipment. Now we know exactly how their weapons work. Mincio leaned forward in her chair. Fire. Space lit up with destruction. Hundreds of hidden weapons platforms fired at once. Some launched missiles. Some fired lasers. Some shot metal slugs accelerated to incredible speeds. The attack came from every direction at once. The alien shields held. Blue energy barriers appeared around each ship, absorbing the impacts. Explosions bloomed against them like flowers, beautiful and harmless. Their shields are strong, Youngmi reported. Stronger than we estimated. Good, Mincio said. Let them think we have shown our best. Junho, is the data coming in? The doctor nodded, watching streams of information flow across his screens. Yes. Every shot we fire tells us more about their shield frequency, power consumption, and recharge rate. Give me 10 more minutes and I can tell you exactly how to break them. On the flagship, Vraxian was recovering from his shock. Return fire. Destroy those platforms. The alien fleet opened fire. Their weapons were powerful. Much more powerful than human weapons. Where they hit, the hidden platforms simply ceased to exist. But there were so many platforms, and they were spread across such a huge area, the aliens could not hit them all at once. Shields holding at 90%, an officer reported. These weapons are primitive but numerous. Council Prime, should we retreat and regroup? Retreat? From these animals? Vraxian slammed his fist on his throne. Never continue the attack. We will destroy every weapon they have and then we will land on their planet and teach them the price of resistance. But then something strange started happening. The human attacks changed. Instead of firing randomly, they began to coordinate. 3 missiles would hit the same shield point at the same time. Lasers would focus on specific spots. The attacks became precise, surgical. Shield strength at 70%, an officer called out. Wait, 60%? Council Prime, they are targeting our shield generators specifically. How do they know where they are? Increase shield power. We are at maximum power. Young Mai allowed herself a small smile. Dr. Junho, you're a genius. The old scientist shrugged. I just did the math. Their shields are powerful but predictable. Now, Captain, Phase 2? Mincio nodded. Launch the drones. From Earth and the hidden platforms, thousands of small objects shot into space. They were not missiles. They were drones, each one about the size of a car, each one controlled by advanced computers that learned and adapted. The alien point defense systems opened fire, destroying hundreds of drones, but more kept coming. They moved in unpredictable patterns, learning from each loss, adjusting their approach. What are these things? An alien officer shouted. They are not following standard attack patterns. Because they are not standard, Vraxian said, finally understanding. They are adaptive. These humans have been studying war while we studied peace. All ships tighten formation. Protect each other! But as the fleet tightened its formation, Minseo gave another order. Now, young me? Yes, Captain. Activating electromagnetic pulse weapons. Invisible waves of energy swept through space. The alien ships shuddered. Lights flickered on their hulls. Their shields wavered. Our shields are failing, an officer screamed. The electromagnetic radiation is draining our power generators faster than we can recharge. Vraxian watched in horror as his perfect fleet began to fall apart. Ships collided as their navigation systems glitched. Shields went down completely on dozens of vessels. The human drones swarmed in, targeting exposed hull sections with precision. In the first hour of battle, the Council fleet lost 50 ships. 50 ships destroyed by a species they had called primitive. 50 ships crewed by thousands of beings, now drifting debris. All ships retreat, Vraxian finally ordered. Pull back to defensive formation. He tried to transmit the retreat order, but nothing happened. His communications were not working properly. On Earth, Jisoo sat in another command center surrounded by computers. She was not a soldier, but her skills were just as important. She and her team had been attacking the alien computer systems from the moment the fleet arrived. Their command codes are encrypted, one of her team members said. But encryption is just math, and math can be broken. Jisoo's fingers flew across her keyboard. I am in their communication network, sending false orders now. Their fleet will receive contradictory instructions. Some will be told to advance, some to retreat, some to hold position. They will not know which orders are real. And she was right. Across the alien fleet, confusion spread. Some ships moved forward. Some moved back. The perfect formation that had been their strength became chaos. Admiral Sunwoo watched all of this from his command center. He had fought in wars before. He had seen death and destruction. Sergeant Jinho felt the assault craft shake as it dodged through enemy fire. He sat with 19 other soldiers, all strapped into their seats, all wearing black armor that made them look like insects. The armor was powered, making them stronger and faster than any unarmored human. Each soldier carried weapons that had been designed specifically for fighting in the confined spaces of a spaceship. 30 seconds to contact, the pilot's voice came through their helmets. Target is the alien flagship. Their shields are down in Section 7. That is your entry point. Jinho looked at his team. Corporal Eunji sat across from him, checking her explosives one more time. She was small but absolutely fearless. Next to her was Private Dong Hyun, the youngest member of the team. This was his first real combat. His hands shook slightly, but his eyes were focused. Remember your training, Jinho said calmly. These aliens are bigger than us and probably stronger, but they have never fought like we fight. They have never faced soldiers who grew up learning about war. Stay together, watch each other's backs, and do not hesitate. 10 seconds, the pilot said. The craft lurched violently as it attached to the alien hull. Metal screeched against metal. Eunji moved forward and placed a circular charge on the wall. Everyone stepped back. Fire in the hole, she said, and pressed the button. The charge exploded with a focused blast that melted through the alien hull. Atmosphere rushed out of the hole with a screaming sound. The soldiers' armor protected them from the sudden decompression. They rushed through the hole into a corridor filled with smoke and confusion. The first alien they saw was tall and covered in blue scales. It held some kind of energy weapon and looked shocked to see humans suddenly appearing. It raised its weapon, but Jinho was faster. 3 shots from his rifle and the alien fell. Move, 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 Jinho shouted. They ran down the corridor. More aliens appeared, trying to stop them. The corridor was designed for beings much larger than humans, which meant the humans could use the extra space to their advantage. They rolled, jumped, and slid under enemy fire, while their own shots found targets with brutal efficiency. Dong-hyun saw an alien soldier taking aim at Jin-ho from a side passage. Without thinking, he threw himself sideways and fired. The alien went down, but not before getting off a shot that hit Dong-hyun's armor. The impact threw him against a wall. "Dong-hyun!" Hyun-ji shouted. "I am fine," he gasped. "Armor took most of it. Keep moving." They fought their way deeper into the ship. The aliens were strong and their weapons were powerful, but they fought like they were confused. They stood in the open. They did not use cover effectively. They seemed to expect that their size and technology would be enough. It was not enough. Jin-ho's team reached a large door marked with alien symbols. "This should be the engine room," he said, checking his tactical display. "Yoon-ji, open it." She placed another charge. The door exploded inward and the team rushed through. Inside was a massive chamber filled with machinery that glowed with internal light, and there were at least 30 alien soldiers waiting for them. "Contact!" Jin-ho yelled, diving behind a piece of equipment as energy bolts filled the air. The firefight was intense. The aliens had numbers and firepower, but the humans had experience and adaptability. They used the engine room's equipment as cover. They coordinated their movements. Hyun-ji threw a grenade that exploded in a burst of light, blinding several aliens. Dong-hyun noticed that one piece of equipment had control panels in front of it. "Sergeant," he called out. "That looks like a control system. Can you use it?" "I can try." Dong-hyun ran to the controls while his team covered him. Energy bolts flew past his head. He looked at the alien writing and symbols and understood nothing. But the layout was logical. Systems needed certain things to work. Power inputs, cooling systems, emergency shutoffs. He found what looked like an emergency control and pulled it. All the lights in the engine room went red. A loud alarm started blaring. The alien soldiers looked around in confusion. "What did you do?" Jin-ho asked. "I think I activated their emergency shutdown," Dong-hyun said. "The engine is going into overload. They either shut it down properly or it explodes." The alien soldiers suddenly had a choice: keep fighting the humans or save their ship. Most of them ran to the engine controls, trying to prevent a catastrophe. Jin-ho's team used the distraction to secure the room. Within minutes, they had control. The remaining aliens surrendered, their weapons clattering to the floor. All across the alien fleet, similar scenes were playing out. Human boarding teams hit ship after ship. They moved through corridors like shadows, fought like demons, and thought like engineers. When they could not win by force, they used tactics. When they could not use tactics, they used psychology. On one ship, a human team broadcast a message through the ship's internal communications. The message was simple: surrender and you will be treated well. Fight and you will die. You have 5 minutes to decide. Some ships surrendered immediately. Their crews had watched the humans fight and wanted no part of it. Other ships tried to resist, but their crews were not trained for this kind of combat. They were scientists and explorers and bureaucrats who happened to serve on warships. The humans were soldiers who had been bred by centuries of warfare. Officer Seok-jin was a middle-ranking member of the Council's military. He commanded a section of one of the smaller warships. He watched on his monitors as human soldiers moved through his ship like a plague. They were everywhere at once. His own soldiers fell back again and again. "We need to stop them," his superior officer said. "Use the internal defense systems, gas them, to pressurize the sections they are in. Sir, if we depressurize those sections, we will kill our own people too. Then they will die as heroes. Do it." But Seok-jin did not do it. He watched the humans fight and saw something that terrified him more than their weapons. They covered each other. They risked themselves to save their wounded. They fought with absolute determination but showed mercy to those who surrendered. When human soldiers finally reached his command station, Seok-jin put down his weapon and raised his hands. "I surrender," he said in his own language. One of the humans, a woman with a scarred face, pointed her weapon at him. Then she lowered it and spoke into her radio. A moment later, another human arrived who had a translation device. "You are surrendering?" the translator asked. "Yes, I will not order my people to die in a fight we cannot win. I will not kill my own crew to slightly delay you. I surrender. My section surrenders. Please show mercy." The human soldiers looked at each other. Then the woman with the scarred face nodded. "Your surrender is accepted. Order your soldiers to put down their weapons and gather in a central location. They will not be harmed if they comply. Seokjin did as ordered. His soldiers, confused but relieved, surrendered as well. As the humans secured the area, Seokjin watched them work. They were efficient but not cruel. They provided medical care to wounded aliens. They allowed the prisoners to sit and rest. They gave them water. Why? Seokjin asked the translator. We invaded your world. We tried to destroy you. Why show us mercy? The human woman thought for a moment. Because we are not like you thought we were. We fight when we must. We fight hard. But we do not hate you. We hate what you tried to do to us. Now that you have surrendered, you are prisoners, not enemies. We treat our prisoners well. Your species is strange, Seokjin said, terrifying and merciful at the same time. We are human, the woman said. That is what it means. Back on the flagship, Vraxian watched his fleet fall apart. More than half his ships were no longer responding to orders. Some had been destroyed. Some had been captured. Some had simply fled, their captains too frightened to continue. He sat on his command throne and looked at the data. 8 hours. The battle had lasted only 8 hours. The greatest fleet ever assembled by the Council had been defeated in 8 hours by a species that still used chemical rockets. Council Prime, an officer said quietly. We are receiving a transmission. From Earth, put it on screen. Commander Hyunwoo appeared on the main display. He stood in what looked like a command center. Behind him, Youngmi and other human officers worked at their stations. He looked tired, but his eyes were hard. Council Prime Vraxian, Hyunwoo said. I am sure you remember me. I am the primitive human who warned you not to attack us. How dare you? Vraxian started. Be quiet, Hyunwoo said, and his voice was cold enough to freeze stars. You are going to listen now. You came to my world with 500 ships. You came to enslave us. You came thinking we would be easy prey. You were wrong. The display split to show scenes from across the battle. Destroyed alien ships, human soldiers securing captured vessels, alien crews surrendering by the hundreds. You wanted to see what humans are capable of. Hyunwoo continued. This is us holding back. This is us showing restraint. We could have destroyed every ship in your fleet. We could have killed every member of your crew. We chose not to. We chose to give your people the chance to surrender. Many of them accepted. They are alive because we allowed it. Vraxian said nothing. What could he say? You have a choice now, Hyunwoo said. Order your remaining ships to surrender and we will treat them well. Or continue to fight and we will destroy everything you have. 6 months after the battle, Earth looked different. Cities still stood where they had always been. People still went to work and school and lived their lives. But everyone knew that everything had changed. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. They were no longer isolated. They were part of something bigger now, for better or worse. In Seoul, a new building had been constructed almost overnight using a combination of human and alien technology. It was the Earth Embassy, where representatives from dozens of alien worlds came to meet with human officials. Today, something special was happening. The official ceremony where Earth would take its seat on the Galactic Council. Hyunwoo stood in his quarters in the embassy, adjusting his formal uniform. He looked at himself in the mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. 6 months ago, he had been a diplomat hoping to make friends with aliens. Now he was famous across the galaxy. Some species called him a hero. Others called him a monster. He tried not to think about either label. A knock came at his door. Come in, he called. Tae-young entered, also dressed formally. Are you ready? No, Hyunwoo said honestly. How can anyone be ready for this? By remembering that we earned this, she said. We did not ask for war. We did not want to fight. But when we had to, we showed the galaxy what humanity is capable of. Now we have a chance to show them what else we can do. They walked together through the embassy halls. On the walls hung pictures from the battle. Destroyed ships, human soldiers, alien prisoners being treated by human medics. Hyunwoo stopped at one picture that showed a human soldier sharing his water with an alien who had been wounded. This is what I want the galaxy to remember, he said. Not just that we can fight, but that we can also show mercy. The ceremony was held in the Great Hall, but this time it looked less intimidating to Hyunwoo. The crystal wall still glowed. The floating chair still rose into shadows. But now he understood that this was just a room. The aliens here were just people like humans with their own fears and hopes. Kalxian presided over the ceremony. She wore robes decorated with symbols from 100 worlds. "We gathered today to acknowledge a new member of the Galactic Council," she announced. "A species that has proven itself capable, strong, and worthy of standing among us. Earth and humanity, you are welcome here." Hyunwoo walked to the center of the floor. A new seat had been added to the council circle, designed for human size. He sat in it and felt it rise into the air, lifting him up to the level of the other council members. "On behalf of Earth," he said, "I accept this seat and the responsibilities that come with it. We promise to work for peace. We promise to use our voice wisely. And we promise to defend not just our own world but any world that needs defending. We learned something important in the last 6 months. Standing alone makes you strong, but standing together makes you stronger." The other council members made sounds of agreement in dozens of different languages. Then Kelxian spoke again. "There is another matter to address. The one known as Vraxian has been tried by his own people for his actions. The verdict was clear. He acted on prejudice and arrogance. He led his fleet into a war that should never have happened. He has been stripped of his position and exiled from his homeworld." Vraxian was brought into the hall. He looked smaller somehow, his red scales dull, his eyes downcast. He stood before the council as a criminal, not as a leader. "Vraxian," Kelxian said, "do you have anything to say?" The former council prime looked up. His eyes found Hyunwoo. "I underestimated you," he said simply. "I saw primitive technology and assumed primitive minds. I saw violence in your history and assumed you were nothing but violent. I was wrong about everything, and thousands died because of my arrogance." Hyunwoo felt something unexpected. Not anger, not satisfaction, just sadness. "What you did was wrong," he said. "But you are not the only one who made mistakes. Your entire council thought the same way you did. They just let you take the blame. Real peace will come when everyone learns from this, not just you." Vraxian nodded slowly. "I hope they do learn. I hope what happened to me teaches them to look deeper before making judgments." He was led away to begin his exile. The council moved on to other business, but Hyunwoo found it hard to concentrate. He kept thinking about all the people who had died. Human and alien, soldiers and civilians, all because of pride and fear. After the ceremony, there was a reception. Dozens of alien diplomats approached Hyunwoo, wanting to speak with him. Some were friendly, some were cautious. A few were openly hostile. One alien, a small creature that looked like a walking plant, said, "You scared us. Your species is dangerous." "Yes," Hyunwoo admitted, "we can be dangerous. But we can also be kind. We can also be creative and funny and loving. We are complicated, just like every species." "Will you attack other worlds?" the alien asked. "Only if they attack us first," Hyunwoo said. "We do not want an empire. We do not want to conquer anyone. We just want to be free and to help others be free." "Is that so hard to believe?" The alien was quiet for a moment. "We have lived in peace for so long that we forgot what freedom costs. You reminded us. Thank you, I think." Across the room, Captain Min Seo and Dr. Junho were talking with alien scientists. The scientists wanted to understand human weapons technology. Min Seo was carefully explaining what she could without giving away military secrets. "Your electromagnetic pulse weapons were very effective," one alien said. "We would like to study them." "For defense?" Min Seo asked. "Yes, for defense. Many of us realize now that we need to be able to protect ourselves. Your species has taught us a valuable lesson." Junho looked troubled. "We did not want to teach the galaxy how to make better weapons. That was not our goal." "Perhaps not," the alien said, "but it is the reality. The galaxy has changed. We cannot go back to pretending that everyone will always be peaceful. Better to be ready and never need it than to need it and not be ready." Later, Sunwoo gave an interview to a galactic news service. The reporter was a being that looked like a collection of glowing orbs. "Admiral, many people across the galaxy are afraid of humanity now. What do you say to them?" Sunwoo thought carefully before answering. "Fear is natural. We were afraid when your council attacked us, but fear should not control us. Yes, we are dangerous. Yes, we can fight, but we are also capable of great compassion. We shared our food with our prisoners. We gave medical care to wounded enemy soldiers. We could have destroyed the entire council fleet, but we chose not to. Judge us by our actions, not by your fears." "What is Earth's goal now?" the reporter asked. "To explore, to learn, to make friends, and to be ready if someone decides to be our enemy. We do not want more wars, but we will not run from them either." On Earth, in a small apartment in Seoul, Private Dong-hyun was trying to adjust to civilian life. He had been given medals and honors for his actions in the battle. But at night he still had nightmares about the aliens he had killed, about the fear in their eyes when they realized they were going to die. His mother made him tea and sat with him. "You did what you had to do," she said gently. "I know. But knowing something and feeling okay about it are different things." He looked at his hands. "I ended lives. I know they were enemies. I know they would have killed me. But they were still people. They had families. They had dreams. And now they are gone because of me." "You are a good person," his mother said. "A bad person would not feel this way. You did your duty and now you carry the weight of it. That is what makes you strong." Sergeant Jin Ho had similar struggles. He visited the families of soldiers who had died under his command. He attended memorials. He tried to process everything that had happened. One day he received a message from an unexpected source. It was from Officer Seok Jin, the alien who had surrendered to him. The message was simple. "Thank you for showing mercy when you did not have to. You could have killed us all. You chose not to. That choice saved my life and the lives of my crew. I will never forget it. I will spend the rest of my life telling others about the humans who were terrifying in battle, but compassionate in victory. May our species never fight again." Jin Ho read the message several times. Then he wrote back, "I hope we never fight again either. But if we do meet again, I hope it is as friends." Jisoo had become something of a celebrity among the galaxy's computer scientists. They wanted to know how she had hacked the Council's system so easily. She tried to explain that it was not really about being clever. It was about understanding that all systems have weaknesses. All codes can be broken. All networks have vulnerabilities. The Council's mistake was thinking their systems were perfect, she told a class of alien students. They had not updated their security in centuries because no one had ever successfully hacked them. They became comfortable. Comfortable is dangerous in any field, but especially in technology. A student asked, "Will you teach us how to hack?" "I will teach you how to protect your systems," Jisoo said. "Because the best hacker is one who uses their skills to make things safer, not more dangerous." 1 year after the battle, a huge event was organized on Earth. Representatives from every council species were invited. It was called the Peace Festival, and it was humanity's way of showing the galaxy their culture, their art, their music, and their food. The Great Hall looked the same as it had 3 months ago. Same crystal walls, same floating chairs arranged in circles, but everything felt different now. The aliens who sat in those chairs no longer looked confident. They looked afraid. In the center of the floor stood Hyunwoo again. But this time he was not alone. Admiral Sunwoo stood to his right, his uniform decorated with ribbons. Captain Min-seo stood to his left, still wearing her combat fatigues because she had come directly from Earth's Defense Command. Behind them stood Jisoo, Daewon, Taeyang, and dozens of other humans. All of them looked tired. All of them looked proud. And around the edges of the hall, guarded by human soldiers, stood the survivors of the Council fleet. Fraxian was there, his red scales dull, his head lowered. Next to him stood other Council officers and officials. They were prisoners, but they had been treated well, fed, given medical care, kept in comfortable quarters. The humans had kept their word. The Council members in their seats looked down at this scene in silence. Finally, one of them spoke. It was Kelxian, a being that looked like a very tall, thin human covered in white feathers. "We have reviewed the battle data," Kelxian said. Her voice was quiet, almost sad. "We have seen what happened. Commander Hyunwoo, Admiral Sunwoo, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I must ask, how did you defeat us so completely?" Sunwoo stepped forward. "You made several mistakes. First, you assumed we were primitive because our visible technology was less advanced than yours. You never looked deeper. You never asked why a species with our level of technology had survived this long when most species at our level destroy themselves." "And why is that?" Kelxian asked. "Because we learned to fight," Sunwoo said simply. "You looked at our history and saw only violence. You did not see the lessons we learned. Every war taught us something. Every conflict made us better at surviving. When you have spent thousands of years fighting yourselves, fighting alien invaders becomes just another challenge." Another council member spoke up. This one looked like a mass of tentacles with eyes scattered across its body. "But your technology, your weapons were inferior to ours." Daewon stepped forward. He had planned most of the battle strategy. "Were they? Yes, individually your ships were more powerful than ours. Your shields were stronger. Your weapons had longer range. But you forgot something important. Technology is not just about how advanced it is about how you use it. He gestured and a holographic display appeared showing the battle. You relied on your shields. So we studied them and found their weaknesses. You relied on your formation. So we forced you to break it. You relied on your communications. So we hacked them. You relied on your experience. But you had no experience fighting an enemy that thought differently than you. You tricked us, the tentacled alien said. We used strategy, Day One corrected. There is a difference. We did not cheat. We simply fought smarter. Jisoo raised her hand shyly. When Kelxian nodded to her, she spoke. I accessed your historical databases during the battle. I found records of every war you have ever fought. Do you know what I noticed? You always won by using the same tactics. Overwhelming force, superior technology, predictable strategies. You won because you fought species that thought like you did, but we do not think like you. How do you think? Kelxian asked. We think like prey that became predators, Jisoo said. We think like a species that survived by being adaptable. We think like beings who learned that rules are just suggestions, and that sometimes you have to break them to win. You came at us with order and discipline. We came at you with chaos and creativity. Minseo spoke up. And there is something else. Something that I think you still do not understand. We were terrified. Every single human involved in this battle was scared. We knew you were stronger. We knew you had better technology. We knew you could probably destroy our entire planet if you wanted to. But we fought anyway. Why? An alien asked, genuinely confused. If you knew you would probably lose, why fight? Because surrender was not an option, Minseo said. Because we value freedom more than safety. Because we would rather die fighting than live as slaves. You cannot understand this because you have had peace for so long. You have forgotten what it means to fight for something you believe in. The hall was silent for a long moment. Then Kelxian spoke again. We have had peace for 10,000 years. We ended war. We ended conflict. We thought we were civilized. You were civilized, Hyunwoo said. But civilization without the ability to defend itself is just a target. You became soft. You forgot how to fight. You forgot that the galaxy is not always peaceful. And when you met us, you did not see a potential friend. You saw something that scared you because we reminded you of what you used to be. Vraxian suddenly spoke from where he stood with the other prisoners. He is right. We feared you. We saw your violence and thought you were dangerous. So we decided to control you before you could threaten us. And by doing so, Hyunwoo said, you created the exact situation you feared. You made us your enemy. Another council member, one that looked like a floating crystal, asked, what happens now? You have defeated us. You have captured our fleet. You have proven you can fight. What do you want from us? Taeyang stepped forward. She had been quiet until now, letting the military people speak. But this was her area of expertise. We want several things. First, formal recognition of Earth as a sovereign world. You will never again attempt to conquer us or control us. Agreed, Kelxian said immediately. Second, reparations. You attacked our world without provocation. We want compensation for the resources we spent defending ourselves. We want access to your medical technology to help the wounded from both sides. We want educational material so we can learn about the galaxy we now know exists. Reasonable, Kelxian said. What else? Third, we want a seat on this council. You claim to represent the galaxy. Well, we are part of the galaxy now. We want a voice in decisions that affect all species. This caused murmuring among the council members. The tentacled alien spoke up. You want to join the council? After what happened? Yes, Taeyang said. Because we understand something you have forgotten. Peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is the choice not to fight when you could. We beat you in battle. We could demand much more than we are asking. We could threaten you. We could take revenge. But we choose not to. That is real peace. That is real civilization. Kelxian looked at the other council members. There was a long discussion in languages the humans could not understand. Finally, she turned back to them. The council agrees to your terms. Earth will be recognized as sovereign. You will receive reparations, and you will be granted a seat on the council. She paused, but many of us are still afraid. You have shown us how dangerous you can be. How do we know you will not attack us in the future? Sunwoo smiled, but it was not a happy smile. You do not know. You have to trust us just as we have to trust you. But let me tell you something. We did not want this war. We came to you in peace. You chose violence. We responded to protect ourselves. If you leave us alone, we will leave you alone. But if you ever threaten Earth again, you will find out what we can do when we are not holding back." The hall went very quiet. Then Hyunwoo spoke, his voice softer. "But we would rather be friends. We would rather learn from you and teach you what we know. We would rather explore the galaxy together than fight over it. The choice is yours." Over the next several hours, details were worked out. The captured Council ships would be returned, but not the ones that were destroyed. Earth would keep those as trophies and as materials to study alien technology. The Council prisoners would be sent home, including Vraxian, though he would face trial for his decisions. Officer Seok Jin, who had surrendered his section of the ship, approached Hyunwoo during a break in the negotiations. "Commander, may I speak with you? Of course, I want to understand. Your people fought with such intensity, such violence, but when we surrendered, you showed us kindness. Why?" Hyunwoo thought about this. "Because the fight was over. You were no longer a threat. At that point, killing you would have been murder, not war. We fight when we must, but we do not enjoy it. We do not hate our enemies. We just refuse to be conquered by them." "Your species is complicated," Seokjin said. "Yes," Hyunwoo agreed. "We are. We can be the most violent species in the galaxy, or the most peaceful. It depends on how you treat us. Treat us with respect, and we will be your friends. Treat us like primitives, and we will show you how primitive we can be." Later that day, Daewon stood on a balcony overlooking an alien city. Jisoo joined him, carrying 2 cups of something that looked like tea, but tasted like flowers. "We won," she said quietly. "Why do I not feel happy?" "Because winning a war is not something to celebrate," Daewon said. "Thousands died today, both humans and aliens. They died because the Council was arrogant and because we refused to submit. Necessary deaths, perhaps, but still tragic. Do you think there will be more wars? I hope not. But I think the galaxy has learned something important today. Humanity is not to be trifled with. That might keep us safe, or it might make us more enemies. Time will tell." They stood in silence for a while, watching alien vehicles fly through the sky. Finally, Jisoo spoke again. "What do we do now?"